Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 2 of Tools for Genius Living. Last week we talked about astrology. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 2 of Tools for Genius Living. Last week we talked about astrology, and this week I'm super excited to talk to you about essential oils because, I feel like these are right now my favorite tool. So I'm really excited to dive into this topic with you. So let's start with a little bit, or I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey with essential oils, kind of how they came into my life and how they've benefited me and my clients. And then we'll talk through some of my top oils and what I use them for and where I use them. And then we'll end with how you can actually start to incorporate these in your life. So those are the 3 things I'm hoping to accomplish today. And if you have some oils with you, I would love for you to have them. And also, if you have a question about maybe something that you're working with and what oil might support that, be if that's an intention or maybe something that's going on in your life that you'd like some emotional, physical, or mental support with, then put that in the chat and I would love to answer any questions you have about that or give any suggestions. Okay, so how did my journey with essential oils start? Well, I've always loved scent. And it was funny when I was pregnant with my daughter and after I gave birth, my sense of smell was so heightened. And so what I noticed was that I was especially drawn to scent and I became very sensitive to what scents did in my own body. And so at the time, I started to really use them for myself for comfort. So I would be drawn to certain oils when I was going through maybe some emotional times. Maybe if I was having something mentally going on, I would be drawn to certain oils. And I started to know that I gravitated to certain oils for certain things. And I started to notice like their impact on shifting my state. What I loved about oils was that they snapped me right into the present and they snapped me into a certain state. Each oil kind of had their own vibe or essence. And when I would work with a certain oil, I just found that I would kind of take on that essence. And it became a really cool kind of play shop that I had with myself and playing with oils. At the same time, when I was working with clients, I saw that in working with clients, certain oils would gravitate to certain clients. And I started to make customized blends and customized oil sprays or oil blends for people because these oils would just start to kind of talk to me and say, oh, we want to help this person. And as I would let the oils work together, it would create this amazing fragrance. So these blends kind of came into being through just different clients that came. And then I would be astrologically inspired to create a certain blend for a certain theme that was going on. And so my relationship with oils started with just me personally, and then it blended into how I worked with clients and how I supported my clients. I eventually started my own essential oil company, Earth Sky. Many of you might have been part of that because I was at the farmers markets for a while. I sold online, and then anyone that worked with me got a customized blend. I had a lot of fun with that, but it was a lot of work. And as a small business owner and trying to do a lot of different things, that was one of the things that had to go. I always incorporated oils into my yoga classes. I would bring a whole bunch of sprays that I let my students spray before or after class, and I would spray during classes. And so I really incorporated oils into really almost everything that I've done, be it my own practices, all the work that I do. And I always bring them on trips because I find that they can help with so many different things: jet lag, sleep, mental fatigue, concentration, waking me up and feeling inspired, all kinds of things. So really my relationship with oils is I feel like they're just like my best friends that come along with me everywhere I go. And that's been really fun. So that's kind of my journey with oils and how I started to work with them. And one thing to note is that I really am self-taught with oils. I tried many times to go and study, like to be an aromatherapist or to get some type of training. And the funny thing is that it literally would not stick in my brain. Like I would read something or I would study and literally forget it instantly. It was like my relationship with oils needed to be intuitive. And so what I found was that I would actually had the intuitive information that I needed when I worked with them, but when I tried to like match something with like facts or, kind of looking at it through like a more linear approach, it messed the whole thing up. So I haven't been able to really formally study, although I found that what my intuition tells me about the oils usually 99% of the time matches up with what like maybe textbooks or other people that do study oils, their properties, it seems to match up. So it was more proof to me that our intuition really is that source of information and guidance, and that our body and our wisdom does know what we need. So that's been a really cool story and evolution for me. I'll talk a little bit my philosophy on oils and why I feel like they're such a genius tool, because it's one of my 4, right? So it's obviously something that I really love and that I feel strongly about. One of them is that I feel like it allows us to be empowered to be our own healers. Because the oils are so accessible, relatively inexpensive, and it's something that, you don't have to have like a certificate or training to do. There are ways in which we can empower ourselves to really, when we're feeling a certain state and we want to shift, we want to support ourselves, we can empower ourselves to be that type of healer and support for ourselves. And I really love that about the oils. And that if you really trust your intuition and what you're drawn to, the oils really do work. No matter what the textbooks or things say, if you're drawn to a certain oil and you have that intention, it always works. Like, these oils want to support us. I also find that they connect us with nature. They are of nature. Like, essential oils are made from the herbs and plants in nature, which I think is beautiful. And so in some ways, it's a way for us to connect to nature and also to connect to what's natural for us, which is that we are our own healers and that we are connected to nature. And that it's the way in which the oils kind of have this subtle way of influencing us and reminding us of who we are and our potential and our ability to be in so many different states, that we can be more calm and we can be more active, and just the dynamicism of life. I love that about the oils. I do find that they really, they do shift us subtly, but also physically and mentally and emotionally. The oils aren't going to necessarily cure something immediately, but I do find that they will allow you to make state shifts. They do allow us to feel better, to find relief. So they are, a type of subtle medicine, if you will. My mentor, I've heard her called essential oils soul technology. And I totally think that's a great way to look at it. Just like our phones, and we have certain technology to help us in our daily life, to me, the oils are like technology to help us at a soul level. Because these oils really do help us on all layers of our body. One cool thing about the oils is how they are linked with memory. So if you think about, you might have memories that certain scents bring up, like being in your grandmother's home, or maybe certain smells of food that you have childhood memories or good memories in whatever way. And sometimes, bad memories too, right? Which can influence what scents you're drawn to. But I love that about that. So when we use them with intention, right, or we use them to evoke certain states in which we have that memory, we can either tie it to memories in which we want more of, or we can start memories. I know when I was going through a really troubling emotional time, my therapist had an oil that she used with me in our therapy sessions. And that oil, became associated with having a lot of nurturing support in my healing, in my ability to take ownership of my life. And so that oil then became kind of encompassed in this intention and this healing. And so now every time I smell that, I get that sense of being in her office and her warmth and her genuine care and concern, and my genuine care and intention to heal and to move past that trying time in my life. So they can be so powerfully linked to memory. And that's why I love using them with intention. So those are kind of my philosophy why essential oils are so important. It's not just that they smell good and that we can diffuse them in our office and our home to just invoke good smell, but they actually do have medicinal properties. They can do things for our health and wellness on all levels. Like I said, mental, emotional, physical. They have healing capacity for that. I recently, in studying with my mentor, she has invented a type of use of aromatherapies with acupressure points or acupuncture points. It's called aroma point therapy. And so I do that a lot with my clients now and in my yoga classes, where I allow people to put them on Chinese medicine meridian points that have an ability to work with our energy at a subtle level, which can really cause really significant shifts. So that's one of my favorite ways now to use them. Okay, so I want to go through now my top oils, and it's so hard for me to pick my top oils because I love them all, and I probably have hundreds of oils, to be honest. Like I have a whole closet that is full of oils, and I do find that the sourcing of the oil is important. Like if you were to go to like the grocery store and to buy an oil, or you were to order them from an aromatherapy company, I do find that there is a difference in quality and therefore a difference in vibration. So I am a big fan of, really checking out where they're sourced and how they're sourced, because it does matter, right? How companies are going into nature and how they're using them. So if you're in Oregon, one of my favorite companies that I like to use is, I just completely forgot, Mountain Rose. Gosh, Mountain Rose oils. They're out of Eugene. I think there actually is a store at Bridgeport. So if you're in Oregon and in the Portland area, that's one of my favorite. They also ship. Monara oils are my new favorite company. I do know the owner, and I really feel good about their sourcing and quality and the vibration. So those are the two places that I personally get them. I've worked with in the past Young Living and doTERRA and lots of different oils, and to me these are the two companies that I like the best. Some people have a sensitivity to the oils, so I always recommend like diluting them if you're not sure at first, like a 25 to 50% dilution rate of the oil. I'm not sensitive, so I don't really dilute my oils, and I'm fine, but especially being careful if you're putting them on areas around your face or any sensitive areas. So those are just like some notes about essential oils. Okay, so we're gonna go through my top list of oils. My favorite oil right now is neroli. I am in love with neroli. And so the one I'm using right now, I got in Hawaii because that's my other favorite home. So neroli, this to me is the scent of joy, of just delight. When I smell this, I literally get a huge smile on my face and I feel bubbly and giddy like a little child. And friends, this is the essence of our creative spirit, like the child spirit inside of us that is creative and abundant and boundless and believes anything is possible. So this scent to me is a very important one when you're wanting to cultivate more of your creativity, more joy in your life, more levity, more lightness in spirit. This is an awesome oil. So, I mean, just smelling it, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so delicious. I love right now to put neroli on my navel. So I'll put like a drop on any finger and then I'll just place it lightly on a light touch at my navel for 1 to 3 minutes, and I'll just breathe and I'll just imagine, because your navel, right, connects us to our mother, to our, we were nourished and fed and during our prenatal period. And so I like to think about, like, I want to digest more. I want to take in more of this joy and lightness of spirit in my life. So as I'm doing it, I just imagine like how much of that I'm absorbing in. So that's how I love to use neroli. But what I'll say is, you put the oil wherever you're drawn to. And for some people, they just want to smell them or they want to diffuse them, and that works too. I am a big fan of anointing myself with oil. So I will put them on my body with intention. So just so you know, that's how I use them. So that's one of my favorite oils. My next favorite oil that I'm going to talk about is blue tansy. This one generally is pretty expensive, so this one will generally come diluted when you buy it. Blue tansy has a blue color, which I think is super cool, and it also has just a really delightful, sweet smell. For blue tansy and me, I feel like it's like the essence of flow. So when I'm imbuing blue tansy, I feel myself just in this creative kind of flow in life where you're just like, things are just happening, right? Like you're in a flow, you feel light, you feel trusting, you feel just like this bit of being carried. So I love to use this like when I'm working on something creative, or I just want to feel more synchronicity in my life, want to feel like, it's like you hit all the green lights kind of thing, or, you have someone on your list to call and then they call you instead of you having to call them, or if you have a busy day, something gets, rescheduled and without you having to adjust anything. That to me is blue tansy. So I like to put this on my third eye. So I'll put it, maybe on an index finger, and I'll hold light touch at my third eye. And I'll kind of imagine that blue light coming into my being and allowing me to kind of get into that more flowing state of receptivity and just that easefulness. That's what I love about blue tansy. My next favorite oil, and if you're in my yoga class, I bring this one every week because you cannot get enough of this oil, bergamot. Bergamot is a really nice citrusy smell. And what I love for bergamot, it's such a balancer. So I find this to be like if I'm feeling overly mental or I'm feeling spacey and I can't focus, bergamot. If emotions feel like they're all over the board, bergamot. If I feel just like my energy scattered and I want to feel more calm and grounded and just kind of balance it as a whole, bergamot. Like it's to me like the most multi-purpose oil. Let me show you how I use this one because this one is a really fun point. So I put like a drop on my pinky fingers, touch them, and then I put them right here in my ear. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. This point is called Shin Men, so you could look it up on Google. And I just hold it here and I just kind of allow my brain to relax. I just imagine this essence just kind of permeating into my brain and allowing me to be more balanced in my thoughts. I find this to be a good oil to make the intention of just releasing any limiting thoughts, any like really rigid thinking or belief patterns that don't allow me to step into my fullness, or any like ruminating kind of just worrisome thoughts that are heavy. Love me some bergamot. Oh my gosh, it smells so great. So that's bergamot. So I like it, but again, you can put it anywhere else you're called to put it. If you're feeling the emotions being really all over the place, maybe you put it like you're on some hands and you lay it over your womb or your pelvis. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, you can do that. You could put it at the back of your neck if you wanted to kind of calm the nervous system. Again, wherever you're feeling drawn. The next oil that I really like, and I got this one in Hawaii too, is jasmine. Jasmine for me is an oil in which connects me to the trust that I have within myself, within life, within my body. I find it to be a really creative oil. So again, if I'm wanting to nurture that quality of receptivity and like creative ideas coming to me, again, abundance coming to me, I love jasmine for that. It's a great oil for women, especially too. During your cycles, jasmine can be really powerful. I find it also to be an oil when you're really wanting to open more to the feminine, which is, a lot of us are programmed to be very good at the masculine, which is the doing, like I'm going to accomplish. And when we want to just receive and allow ourselves to be cared for by life, I find this oil to be really potent for that. So jasmine, love that. Great oil. It tends to be pretty expensive too. There are many different varieties of jasmine. Some are more sweeter than others. So again, let your scent call you. And some oil companies will just do a combination of the types of jasmine. Okay, the next one is rose. Rose tends to be, if you get like a concentrated rose that's not diluted or a blend, it tends to be very expensive as well. So you might just get it, and like the rose that I have, this is actually a blend, but it generally comes in a really small bottle, and so I'll just dilute it, or I'll just use tiny, tiny bits. What I love about rose is, to me, it just is such a powerful heart medicine. So I'll put it on my heart. Sometimes I put jasmine on my heart. I didn't tell you where to put jasmine. I like it on my heart. So CV17, which is right above kind of like this heart notch. I like to put it over my womb or my kind of my lower abdomen. Those are some of my favorite points for that. And same with rose. I find rose to be really comforting when we're going through grief or any type of like emotional turmoil. I also find rose to just really make me feel very present with wherever I am. So again, the heart, anywhere, I really enjoy rose. Again, great for women with cycles and things of that nature. I find rose just to really be a wonderful oil, one of those all-around oils that, and again, a lot of people are very polarized with rose and some of these floral oils. So if that's you, then maybe you'll choose a different oil. So these next oils might be more unusual. You may not have even heard of them as oils. They're kind of newer to my collection, I would say. I worked with them a lot more in blends before. So if you've had some of my blends, I definitely had some of these oils. Coriander. So coriander, I love to use at the navel. Now it's going to smell more like an herb, because it is. It's something that is used a lot in Indian cooking. So if you like Indian food, you might have had this, or Ayurvedic cooking. Coriander for me is a good reminder that I have everything I need. So if you're feeling a lot of lack mentality, or you feel like graspy, or you're kind of in that state and you're wanting to generate more, again, abundant thinking and more trust, right, in life, and that you have what you need, coriander is a great one. And again, I put it on my navel. This one I feel like is really important for us right now, especially because there's so much fear out there and lack-based, kind of like shortage-based, like, there's just a lot of that out there. And I find that remembering that if we look outside, like life's abundant, like the nature is abundant. That nature always gets what it needs to. And so this is a good reminder of that just richness. Because coriander, if you've ever tasted, is a very rich tasting herb. Okay, the next one is cardamom. That is another one, the enricher. What I love about cardamom, and so whereas coriander is like, I have what I need, cardamom to me is like, I am what I need. Like, I'm enough. So I find this to be really great with limiting thinking, or, kind of that mentality of like, I'm not good enough, or I need to be more, imposter syndrome, things like this. I find this to be a really big one in the not enoughness kind of epidemic we have. I love cardamom for that. I also I'm recommending it this month in Virgo season because it is such an enricher. And if you think about when we digest things and when we are really eating well, that we feel enriched by everything that we imbibe. So as we're putting good things into our life, this is a reminder that we can be enriched and that we are enriched by life. That's cardamom. The next one I really love, vetiver. Vetiver is a root, and it feels, it's a very, very deep, kind of like soil. It tastes like, it smells like soil. And what I love about vetiver is it is such a grounding, yin restorative kind of, if you know anything about the root, it's found in to help prevent landslides in the region that it's grown. And so I really love that about it, thinking of like rooting us and steadying us. So I find like during times of stress or significant change that vetiver is a really important one. I love it on my feet, or I love it, where else do I put it? I put it at the low, kind of like my pubic bone or my tailbone or my sacrum. I like it there. I really like this when I just need to steady myself and just feel myself like I'm sinking into the ground, right? Like I'm standing in the woods, like Forest Park woods, and I'm just really feeling myself ground and root. This to me is a really great one for mental tension or rumination or just being in your head and not in your body. Okay, black spruce is next. Great one for fear. And again, this is an epidemic that I find right now, like so many of us, because we watch the news and there's just so much collective fear. This is a great one to use. And so I'll put a couple drops in my hands, and I'll place one hand at my low back and one hand at the front of my pelvis. And I call that the pelvic cradle. And I'll just hold myself there and take deep breaths and imagine rehoming my energy. So pulling my energy from where it is in like the trunk of a tree, really steadying and rooting myself. So with black spruce, I find that it's super helpful with dispelling fears. And again, those just dark limiting thinking that goes on when we buy into that collective not enoughness mentality. Okay, last one, then I'm gonna get into some ones that you probably heard and tell you some of the physical things that you can use them with. Cedarwood. Cedarwood is a great one. Again, I use that one on my feet a lot. So I like, if you look at like the medial arch of your foot, if you were to kind of lift your foot up, you'll see that there's kind of a natural little divot there, or just wherever intuitively you're drawn to place them on your feet. The outer ankle tends to be a kidney channel, which is a good yin. The inner ankle is more of like the kidney channel. So more of that restorative, good for us because a lot of us are so young. I find that it can be really helpful there at the bottom of the feet, or right below the navel is a good place for cedarwood. And again, cedarwood's very grounding, very steadying, very allows us to find our own anchor within. When I put in cedarwood, I almost imagine that like I've anchored into myself so that I'm not like drawn away by others. So those are my top ones. As far as sourcing them, I like I said, Monara or Mountain Rose. the places to get those, because some of them you won't find at the grocery store are kind of a local place. Now, the ones you might have heard of, lavender, I honestly don't use lavender a lot, although I don't mind it. It's a great multi-purpose herb, oil for like bug bites, for pain, for, relaxing you before bed, just relaxing your mind, for just, it's a great like overall tonic. So if you had to just go find an oil, literally lavender is great for like most everything. Marjoram, which harder to find, but it's a great herb to have on, great oil to have on hand for tension. So if you're feeling mental tension, just tension in your body from just that resistance to things, I find that marjoram can be super great for placing that maybe in some carrier oil and rubbing it over tired or sore places in your body. Peppermint oil is another great one. Peppermint oil can be great for headaches, also just kind of like clearing thinking, especially if you're lost in like multi-scattered thoughts. Peppermint is great for that. Peppermint can wake you up. I love it as a disinfectant when I travel. Sometimes I'll kind of like smear it, honestly, like on the air vents in the airplane, and then I kind of get that fresh scent. Love peppermint for that. It can be really cooling in the summer as well, like to kind of put it in towels or to kind of spritz it on yourself to kind of cool down. So those are ones that you might have heard of. Lemon's really great for disinfectant. I like it for clearing energy. So if I'm gonna like maybe wipe down doors or wipe off down surfaces to kind of feel like I'm cleaning the slate, I love lemon for that. So those are my top oils. There's so many more oils. So let's talk now quickly about like how do you start and how can you use them? So one way I find is to start with an intention. Like, what is it that you want to cultivate in your life? It could be something like that you're wanting to cultivate on a soul level, like I'm wanting to cultivate more money or more abundance in my friendships, or I want to feel more creative. Or it could be something like I have back pain and I want my back pain to get better, or I want to sleep better. So you can start with an intention and then think, what oil do I feel drawn to for that? Like, what oil smells like a scent that energetically or centrally feels like my intention, and just trust what you're drawn for. Of course, you can always Google and search that, but I really love using this as a tool to let your body lead you, because it doesn't matter what anyone says. If you just feel super drawn to lavender for whatever reason, then lavender might mean what might be the underlying root of the issue that's causing whatever it is. So just trust that. So again, just let yourself be drawn. It would be helpful if you could go and smell a bunch of oils, right? But just maybe go with what you feel drawn to. And maybe you can go to a place where you can smell some oils and just match that up. Another way you can work with oils, just starting right away, with those main ones I talked about for like some of your health reasons, or just try one of the ones that I mentioned. I would say that if you're just trying to learn your relationship with oils, is take an oil and use it every day for like 7 days or maybe longer. And maybe you just use it and every day you ask the oil, where do you want to go on my body? Or maybe you meditate with the oil and you maybe smell it and then maybe sit for a while and see what happens to you. What do you feel inside yourself? What comes to you? I think that can be a really beautiful way to use them. The oils will really teach you if you let them. They'll teach you how they want to be used. And I think this can be an amazing way to connect us to our intuition, which is what I'm going to talk about next week, is the tool of our intuition. And oils can be a gateway to connecting us to our intention if we allow them. If we just kind of notice what we're drawn to and go, this kind of sounds good. This is what I feel like, this oil I'm drawn to, which is why when I bring them to my yoga classes, it's so cool to watch people go, oh, this one. And then they'll go, what's this for? And it doesn't even really matter what I say because it must resonate because they smell it and they love it. Conversely, if there's an oil you're really appalled to, don't use it, but it also can be curious, like, I wonder what that's about. But there's certain oils that I'm just simply not drawn to and I don't use very much, even though I know they have profound effects. So if I would say where to start with one oil, work with it for a little bit, or start with just a basic starter kit of like lemon and peppermint and marjoram, perhaps, maybe even rosemary. Some of the more general oils, and maybe one woodsy oil, kind of like a cedar wood, or any of the fir oils, and just kind of notice their effects on you. I do find that we have to slow ourselves down a little bit to feel the effects. So maybe sniffing it, taking like 1 to 3 minutes just to like feel and sense how they speak to you. Maybe they speak to you more physically. Maybe they speak to you more emotionally or mentally, or maybe you just feel better and you don't really know how that works. That's okay. That's part of how the oils will teach you how they want to work with you. So friends, oh my gosh, it's already been 30 minutes. This was super fun to talk about one of my favorite things. I hope that you'll experiment with oils and message me or send me an email if you'd like some, if you have like something that you're working with and you're like, hey, I would love a recommendation for this. I would love to support you with maybe giving you an oil protocol or an oil that I feel like would be great for you. But just play with them. Play with them. So next week, next Thursday at this same bat time and bat channel, we're going to talk about intuition and how we can use our intuition and what our intuition does. And I'll give you some practices that help cultivate your intuition, because I get asked this question a lot by clients. Also note that this Saturday, I'm doing a YouTube live on Virgo season. So if you didn't see that, check out that. That's going to be, we'll actually use some oils and we'll use our intuition for that to talk about this new solar season and how it can serve you. I am so glad that you joined. Thank you, those of you that did. I hope that you'll reach out if you have questions or comments. And I hope to see you back next week. Great seeing you, friends. Take care.